problems you'll run into just with the gi, but hopefully we can kind of breeze through that and really get to some offense. The main concept we're going to be covering today, as far as like how we're going to generate offense from the half guard, is like, obviously alignment is part of it. Always you have to break your partner's alignment, but I'm going to introduce a term, you probably heard of it, but just in case you haven't, it's called kuzushi. Kuzushi is off balancing. It's a term that you usually hear in judo, where before you try to throw someone, you have to take the balance away a little bit. You have to put them in a position where they're vulnerable to being thrown. So kind of the same thing applies for really everything you do from the guard. We're going to go over it obviously specific to the half guard, but as far as how you approach your guard, one of the biggest breakthroughs you can have is to stop trying to attack people when they're just like this, and then get them like this, or having them move their feet, whatever, to recover their base and their balance. When you start doing that, your offense is going to start to become a lot more effective because you'll be attacking a vulnerable opponent. Until you start doing that, your offense is going to be predicated on them just not knowing what you're doing, which is why people struggle so much with the guard. Like they're just trying to force a movement to happen. Sometimes they're able to do it, sometimes they're not. So the main thing we're going to be looking at is how do we shift our partner's center of gravity. So, Troy, can I use you? Yep. So let me check my ears. So again, we're talking about recovering back to any kind of distance where we've got our knee blocking. For today, we're going to try to have our knee fairly high. So however we recover back, we want our, so if I'm playing my half guard with my right hip, I want my left knee up at my partner's shoulder. And depending on the height relative to your partner, you may be able to plant your foot on their hip. If you can, do so. But like, if my leg was a lot shorter, it's more important that I'd be blocking his shoulder than that I'd be stepping on his hip, because he may be able to smash my knee down. So emphasize your shin being at the shoulder, but if the foot can go on the hip, that's great. And then, again, we were talking yesterday about shielding against this side, because if he gets a crossface or if he gets this grip and pulls me in, this can be a huge problem. If he gets this sleeve grip and pulls it, it can be a huge problem. So we're trying to deny that by maintaining this sort of like crossface block. My elbow is reinforcing my knee, and my knee is reinforcing my elbow. So in other words, I don't want something like this, where he can just push this down, smash it, and start to get into his pressure. So shin, we're at a roughly 90-degree angle, and then we're checking here. The main thing we're going to be looking to do is to dominate this arm. We talked about this cheat code, where if I'm controlling this, he can never really threaten my half guard. The distance is being maintained by my shin, and then this lever control allows me to start to manipulate my partner. So we'll just get ourselves familiar with this position, and then as I mentioned yesterday, this right foot has to be hooking my partner's shin. If I'm just kind of doing this, and he just takes his leg out, and now all of a sudden he can start to potentially pass my guard. So I need to have the distance management here preventing him from going forward, and the distance management here preventing him from retreating or disengaging from my half guard. Alright, so we're going to warm up just by establishing this position, this half guard shell, and I would try just to pressure in and just kind of move around. See what he had to do? This is a given. And if anybody wants to pass your half guard, they're going to have to put this hand here. So when that happens, we'll be stripping that. You can use a sleeve grip or just a 2-on-1. And now we're back to, you may have noticed, that I'm keeping this knee in the way. Not everyone can do that. This is a leg length thing. That's why we emphasize this frame so much. Because if I have to have my knee down and he starts moving in, I can still always just push him away with this knee. Don't worry about this knee being here, but if you can get it here, it's definitely better because it's just an additional layer of framing that keeps you safe. Right? So just have your partner try to pressure you a little bit, try to control this and keep this knee in the way. If you start to if he starts to sit here like this, just push, push, push. See how it just drops into his butt. Alright? Just like really like no more than 50%. No one should be getting their guard pass right now. We just need to kind of feel what this is like, keeping this foot down and controlling this arm as much as we can. If you want to do a little bit of battling for that grip, go ahead. But again, just super light so everybody gets a feel for what the position is like. And then we'll start generating the actual kuzushis and the attacks once we're comfortable in the position. Any questions on that? Okay, let's get to work.